You're very welcome back to the Irish Political Roundup with me, Roisin Clerc.
And me, Paul Brophy.
And we are with one of Ireland's favourite TDs, who is one of the most outspoken TDs in Dáil Éireann, and who, you really do put them questions to the government, and really outspoken and really speaking for the opposition, Deputy Ken O'Flynn.
Well, I wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't speaking up for the opposition, I suppose, is the first thing I would say to you. I don't know about being the favourite TD either. I think there's a lot of people that'd like to see me not a TD. But thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. Delighted to be with you again, and congratulations. I'm seeing all these new exciting equipment as well from you, and so things are getting bigger and better for you guys as well, yeah? So that's good to see.
With camera angles.
So, Deputy Flynn, you've also been speaking about recently, but something that's very close to my heart. And when I was on local radio, I couldn't get anyone to talk about. Everybody said, no, we don't want to talk about that, shush, And then last year, the year before, Paul and I did a program on the YouTube channel on child trafficking. Again, MetPath. No one, they even found it difficult to get people to talk about. And you brought up, and at that time, and still, Ireland was on tier 2 of the world's watch child trafficking. And Ireland is like a hub on the same watch list as Romania and Saudi Arabia. And you've been bringing that up, not just about the child trafficking, but also the human trafficking, not just in immigration, but also here within Tusla.
Well, that's true. I know it's quite shocking to read the statistics. The amount of children that go missing in this country, by design, a lot of it. You can read between the lines very quickly in the report. I don't know if Tusla is really up to scratch. I think there needs to be a root and branch examination of Tusla from top to bottom. I've met with many whistleblowers in Tusla, some with harrowing stories, some people that were threatened, whose family were threatened, whose windows were put in, people who didn't know whether they had a job or not, who had to go over to because there was no communication whatsoever once they signed protective disclosures, and people that didn't know whether they were going to get paid on Friday or not. Because why? Because they were trying to protect children and seeing what was happening in the organisation and seeing the cover-ups in the organisation. And Tusla has an awful lot to answer for in this country. I truly believe that. It's something that I'm working with a lot of whistleblowers on, but there needs to be a root and branch examination of this. And child trafficking in this country, human trafficking in this country is a serious problem, and it seems to be going well below the radar. We have many women coming in from Eastern Europe and beyond into this country that are being human trafficked, that are promised that they're going to get jobs here as cleaning ladies or jobs in kitchens and jobs as cooks and the whole lot, that find themselves, their passports taken off them, that they're sold into human slavery, human bondage, and prostitution, and being moved around the country from apartment to apartment. There's no longer prostitution is no longer on the streets. It's moved into private apartments, rented by the month or rented by, and people are being moved. They're being moved between here and the United Kingdom because it's easier to get in and out of the United Kingdom. It's a serious problem. Nobody wants to take it on, there's a huge underbelly here, and it seems to be happening coordinated from groups outside the country and internal groups in the country. And it's a bloody serious issue. We're not finished with it at all. But we have to start talking about it, and we have to, and it's all this. That's one of my biggest gripes all the time, and it comes back to this pushing everything under the carpet and hiding it because you might offend somebody, or you might say, "Oh, well, you can't say that because it'll offend this group, or it'll offend this person's religion, or offend this nationality." If it's happening, it's happening. If these groups are in here and they're up to no good and they're profiting from misery of a human being, that has to be stopped.
And child trafficking, human trafficking, and it kills me to say this, is far more lucrative than drugs or the weapon or pharmaceutical industry.
And far easier to hide and far easier to get away with.
Yeah.
And, we don't have enough Garda resources looking at this. Garda, you're working with Interpol. I had a very, very interesting conversation with a guard off the record who said, the further east I go, the less information I get from, because police forces in places in Eastern Europe don't have the databases or don't have, so there's a lot of misinformation out there and trying to get that, and it's coupled with the people entering the country as well with no passports, and no identification. And we've seen several cases of people coming into the country that have been up to no good and have been involved in international cases. There's, I think, one gentleman before the courts at the moment with maybe 27 aliases.
Yes.
And that's becoming more and more, and more often we're seeing things like that. And these people are dangerous. They're very well organized, and they're deceitful, and there is serious money to be made out of this. And it's very underground and very, very quiet, and nobody's speaking about it. But it's a serious problem for all of Europe. It's a serious problem for
the
all
whole
of Europe.
world, really.
Yeah.
The whole world. And it's something even that President Trump has said, even in America, he was stopping the human trafficking and child trafficking.
Yeah.
And the movie as well. We watched the movie. I had the opportunity of watching the movie before it actually came out in the cinemas. So, and it just goes to show that children are not being protected.
There's tremendous evil goes on in the world.
Yeah.
Look, that's the reality of it. And anything that happens to a child like that is, look, it's just appalling.
It's a basic human right.
It's terrible, and it needs to be stamped out. And every government in the world isn't doing enough.
No.
Isn't doing enough.
So, and like children, as you said, that there's so many children are unaccounted within the state. There's no proper identification or referral system within the state.
Well, that's one of the big catch-22s. Like what is Tusla meant to be doing? How do you lose all these children? How, unless it's orchestrated, unless it's pushed by gangs and the rest of it. But you have to be accountable. You have to find out where, when, and how. And the Garda resources are limited. I accept that, but Tusla has been asleep at the wheel when it comes to the amount of children that are missing in this country and unaccountable for in this country. And then
and children being used for sexual exploitation.
When you eliminate the however bizarre and however weird it is, when you eliminate the questions around that, the obvious and the truth remains of, it has to be orchestrated. It has to be criminal gangs that are moving children between the UK and Ireland. And it's very, very obvious. It becomes very apparent once you start digging into this. And as an organisation, Tusla needs to put up its hands and say, yes, we're getting things wrong. We need help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, but highlighting the situation rather than hiding the situation. And too many times in different organisations, whether it's HSE, whether it's Tusla, whether it's all these other groups that we've had before us in the Dáil, and we've had so many scandals and so many hand-wringing and so many crying and bitter and crocodile tears in government. They have to put out their hands and say, we're getting it wrong and we need help. I mean, this is how we need to address it, rather than trying to cover it up.
And the legal protections on resident status, and even when immigration rights, when people are being brought in for under human trafficking for sexual exploitation, when they get here, there's no rights. So they need to be protected they're the victim. And looked after.
The victims need to be protected as well, and that's one of the biggest challenges as well of what happens now once you've opened up this gang and you found out what's happening, and you find these people that are, many of them have been beaten very badly. They've been subject to sexual crime. Some of it horrific. Their mental health is poor. Their physical health is poor. They've been drugged. They've been dosed with these drugs and all these sort of things. The most horrific stories that you come across. And you're talking about young women and children. And then, they're expected to fight their own corner about legalization, status, all that sort of stuff. And those services have to be provided as well. You have to help. You have to protect the victim.
Yeah.
And we have to be far more understanding of the victim. It's not about you're free to go. It's about how do we assist you? How do we help you? How do we repatriate you back to your own country? How do we get in contact with your family? Do you know who your family even are at this stage?
Yeah.
And how do you help them? And there's a lot of mental anguish out there and upset. And many of these people don't speak English or have very, very little English as well. It's tragic. It's very sad. It's awful.
And you've spoken about the systematic failures, the victims invisible, and they're so unsupported.
Correct.
And you talked about that we need urgent reforms urgently.
Well, yeah, because look, it's not even about reforms. We need the laws put in place. We need to be assisting people. We need to be, we need to be victim driven. And as I stated, Tusla and other organisations just don't seem to be cutting the mustard. Just don't seem to be doing the job. And whether that's dismantling of the organisation and starting all over again, or putting somebody else in to do the root and branch review, we have to get this job done, and it's urgent. And we need assistance and we need finance from Europe for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think it's not just an Irish government problem, it's a UK-Irish government problem. And additionally, it's coming in from France, it's affecting all of Europe. And there needs to be a strong focus from the European Union on this.
And the regulations.
And a crackdown as well.
Crackdown.
Yeah.
So we look forward to hearing what the updates that you have and you bring to us in the door. And, as you said, that
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Not at all. Thank you for your time.
To Paul and I.
No, I enjoyed the conversation.